So what the world needs now is another podcast, huh? I agree. We're going to pound it here on Baughman Talks to bring you the truth as we see it and as much interesting and relevant information as we possibly can. I want to start with a guy I wish there were more dudes like him. Here is the only PhD political scientist, bulked up biker I know. He is former PA legislator and conservative warrior Rick Saccone. This is the Pittsburgh home of Rick Saccone. His wife is young. As you can see, the house exterior is an Americana shrine. Inside, filled with mementos of America and symbols reflecting Rick's deep religious beliefs. I did a sit down with him. Well, Rick, are conservative warriors like you winning or losing?
Well, I look at it as where I stand right now, or where we stand right now, and I think we're just holding our ground, maybe even losing a little ground. But I look at it as we can come back. We're backpedaling a little bit. The left seems to be winning right now. They're on the offensive, but it's like the Battle of the Bulge, right? They're gonna push through a little bit, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna work our way back to victory.
Okay, how are you going to come back? More of you or better strategy?
Both. You got to have more people. People are starting to get energized now, and the word is getting out. People are seeing what's going on. They don't like it, and they're looking for good guidance on how. Many people, they want to fight back, but they don't know how. So it's really important for conservative leaders to step up and give them the phraseology, the terminology, give them the arguments that they need to fight back. And a lot of people don't have that, so they hesitate. They're like, I want to fight back, but you go ahead, you fight back for me. No, we need everybody to be able to step up and be armed with the knowledge that they can argue with the left and win.
What do you think of Trump's actions, his campaigning thus far into the season?
Yeah, I'm not so happy with it. I don't like the change he made with Brad Parscale and Stepien. I don't think he has good people around him that are advising him well. I think he still has a lot of rhinos, as we've seen in recent news reports. They're advising him. They're going to take a lot of his money for the campaign because there's a lot of money there, and they're not going to show Trump as Trump. And you know the old saying, "Let Trump be Trump."
Well, yeah, let Trump be Trump, and then there's the view that Trump is his own enemy. He speaks too much before he thinks.
Not to his base. I mean, his base loves that, and that's the most important part. But I still think Trump is his own best spokesman. He gets his message across. Nobody can portray his message like he does.
Okay.
And yeah, he might have a few gaffes in there, but you know what? People are willing to forgive that because that's why we hired him. He's not a polished politician. It's not what we wanted. We wanted somebody to go in there and shake things up.
It's widely believed, if the election was held today, Biden wins. The polls, to the degree that you might trust them on, if the election was held today, it's President Biden.
Yeah, the left widely believes that, and the fake news widely believes that. But remember, this time during the Hillary campaign, the Trump-Hillary election, Hillary was way ahead too. The polls were saying that she was way ahead, and remember, there was no chance that Donald Trump can win. There's no pathway to the electoral votes that he needs. So I don't believe those polls. We know they're skewed. Every time we look at the details of them, we know that they're not reflecting. And then you have there's a word for it now, I forgot what it is, but it's the shy Trump vote. So when people are polled, they're afraid to say they're for Trump. So the poll gets skewed by people who are afraid to actually give the interviewer their real thoughts.
You don't think the Democrats are more primed and ready and pumped up this time after 4 years of Trump, or before he was kind of an unknown in terms of his presidency?
I think their base, the real true base, the far left base, is very primed. They're very enthusiastic. But I think a large segment of the rest of the Democratic Party doesn't like what's going on. They see what's happening in their country. They're not happy with it. I don't think they're going to side with Biden and Harris.
What happens to the nation under President Biden?
It's scary what would happen. Just think about it. And President Trump outlined some of it yesterday in his speech. There's going to be anti-Second Amendment. There's going to be this whole idea of taking away our weapons and our ability to defend ourselves. That defunding of the police, total transformation of how we how the government protects us. So if you take away the government protecting us and your right of self-defense, think about a life that you're going to live with the government with its finger or with its foot on your neck. Basically, you're going to see higher taxes. You're going to see all kinds of more social programs. You're going to see a shift to the left on things that matter least to the amount of people. You're going to see more emphasis on LGBTQ and other leftist policies that, to the average American, it doesn't affect their daily life.
Yeah, yeah. In connection with that, though, what about illegals?
Yeah, I didn't even touch on. I mean, you could just go right down the line. Illegal aliens, opening up the borders, giving them the right to vote, giving them, right to health care that even many Americans don't have. You're going to see with the military, with our foreign policy, right down the line, you're going to see a total, not only a shift, you're going to see a reversal. They've already talked about how they're going to reverse and maybe even go after Trump and his supporters and prosecute them. You're going to see some real vicious retribution if they're elected.
Yeah. Democrats haven't spoken out against murder and other violence in the streets. You know, there's a phrase, silence is assent. I get the clear impression Democrats approve of what's happening in the streets. Do you think enough Republicans are speaking out about it?
No, I absolutely don't. I'm really disappointed, and I've been angrily voicing my opinion that the Republican elected officials specifically, but those in the media too, need to stand up, make those arguments. They should be out there every day, whether it's at the state level, whether it's at the federal level. We should be seeing them every day pounding on the left and pounding on, in our state, pounding on Wolf and our state level government for what they're doing. They're not doing it. They're running silent. They're laying low, hoping to just hold on to their seats and maintain their own power. I'm sick of it, and people are sick of it. More and more people are growing tired of the way the Republican Party is acting.
Why hasn't the violence in the streets moved Trump's poll numbers? If Americans disapprove of this, as we hear by quite a majority, like 75%, why aren't Trump's poll numbers going up?
I say I don't trust the polls. I don't trust the way the questions are asked. I don't trust who they're polling. You can't. It's hard to. So much of that is dependent on how the question is asked and who you're asking, who you're reaching when they're calling people or so forth, and whether people are willing to be truthful when they're answering.
Okay. Well, when the pollsters ask women, is it Trump or Biden? Right now, most polls show they're saying Biden by 25 points. That Biden is leading Trump among women by 25 points. Do you believe that? Any of that?
I don't believe that. I mean, certainly Trump has to do some educating on what he's done for women and re-educating on how the Democratic Party has treated women. So there's work to be done, but I don't believe that the gap is that large.
Okay. Well, not only are too many Republicans silent, as you have said, but as you know, quite a few of them, certain of them, have actively organized against Trump, like the Lincoln Project, urging people to vote for Biden. Do you ever think you'd see that day in America when organized Republicans would say vote for the Democrat?
Actually, I did. I thought from the very beginning, we have so many rhinos in this party, and that's what they do. That is their MO. They lay low, they pretend like they're supporting this president, but they don't. They're establishment people, they're out for themselves, and I knew at the key moment, they're going to pretend like they're supporting Trump. They did it under the Paul Ryan administration in the House, too. And now you're seeing it again. They lay low, they fake like they're supporting the president, they support him on things they know they have to, but at the key moments, like when McCain gives the thumbs down on Obamacare and times like that, at key moments, that's when the truth comes out. They betray themselves and they expose themselves for what they really are. And that's what you're seeing with the Lincoln Project. It's all bets off now. We're too close to the election. These rhinos are like, we got to get rid of this guy. So now they're coming out, they're forming these groups, and they're betraying the president. You get the Romneys and the Flake, who's gone now, but those type of people that are in the Senate, for example, That's just a few of the many. The House is full of them. People that are there were elected for the wrong reasons. People that they're there for their own elevation, for their own aggrandizement. They don't care about Trump. They don't care about us. They care about themselves. And now they're starting to be exposed.
Can they make a difference? I mean, how much damage can they do to Trump?
They can do a tremendous amount of damage. They've been able to look at legislation-wise. They've been able to peel back a lot of what Trump's trying to do. The wall is a perfect example. Many other things that Trump's been trying to do because he's fighting the Democratic Party and half the Republican Party and the media, and he's doing it almost single-handedly. So yes, it's a tremendous task. That's why he needs the base so much more. He needs people to stand up and support him. Get out there and keep pounding on your elected officials, not only supporting Trump, but pounding on those rhinos that are in there now, and let them know we're on to you, and we're going to primary you, and we're going to get you out of there next time. We're done with you. They have to let those people know that.
Finally, Rick, I don't think divided is the word for the state of the nation right now. It's fractured, right? Is it permanently fractured?
It could be. We could be heading down a road where we're going to see even violence. I hear that so much more now than I ever did before in my life. Or we could turn this around, especially if Trump gets elected, and if people start standing up for our values and our virtue and our founding and our heritage and our traditions. We could turn this back around and be the prosperous America that we were before.
Yeah. Do you think if Biden and Harris get in and they go crazy left all the way, there could be insurrection?
I think you're going to see some of that.
Well, we're seeing it now from the left.
Yes, I think you're going to see it. I think you're going to see it from the common man, because everywhere I go, talking to construction workers and just regular people, store owners, I hear that kind of talk now. I've never heard that before in my life. It's unthinkable, but I hear that kind of talk now, where people say maybe it's time for a little rebellion. We can't go on like this. Our rights and our liberty are literally at stake. It's a little scary to think of it, but I think before we get there, we got a lot of things we can do to turn this back around.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Rick Saccone, quite a guy, a good friend. He's a third-generation veteran, and his two sons are carrying on the Saccone family military tradition. So now Joe says Trump is fomenting the violence. Joe goes big lie. And it shows you how programmed this guy is by the leftists around him. Because no rational person thinks Trump is fomenting the violence, and leftists are anything but rational. They have been hurling insults and diatribes at conservatives for many, many years. You recall in 2016, Hillary got into the name-calling act with her deplorable screed. You know, the Trump backers, conservatives are racist, homophobic, xenophobic. See, if you're not a leftist, if you think differently than there's something wrong with you. You're afflicted with something. Yeah, I'm afflicted with the ability to think. You might remember, right after Hillary's little bit, leftists started attacking conservatives in the streets. Democrats don't care about crime, about the victims of crime. There's been no serious denunciation of the ongoing violence by any Democrat, serious denunciation by any Democrat or academic, or certainly the liberal media. When Liz Warren was running for president, she said the killing of Iowa college student Molly Tibbetts by an illegal immigrant was unimportant. She didn't say that explicitly. She was asked, "What about the killing of Molly Tibbetts?" She said, "Well, I'm sorry she was killed, but the important thing is," the important thing. And then she went on to babble about the border. Democrats don't care about the victims of crime. They don't give a damn. And I sincerely believe that if you vote Biden, you're increasing the risks to the safety and security of your family. Thanks for looking in. Talk next time. Email me at hank@lhtcmedia.com.